Okay, it's time for another experiment. This time, it's with dark chocolate covered almonds. I had a whole bag that fell on the ground, and so what do you do with it? You don't pick it up and throw it in the trash. You pick it up and see if your worms will like it. So, here they are, 3 of them. I'm going to try and see, well, actually, there's 12 of these in each bowl, and I cut one of them in each bowl open just so we can see how thick the chocolate is around the almond. So, so we kind of can see how the worms are going to be doing with those. And I will be covering each of them up with some moist bedding. I won't do all of them here on camera. I just want to show you what it's going to look like. I won't pack it in like I did last experiment because the worms had a hard time finding their way inside the container because it was packed so full. So I think this is about enough, and I'll do that to all 3 of these, and I'll bring out the bins, show you what they look like before we close. Okay, here's the red worm bin. I already put a hole, it's been fluffed up, and I already put a hole in the center, so we can just go ahead and put one of these containers in it. As you can see, I don't know if you can see it very well, but there's the chocolates on the bottom, and then it has moist bedding on the top. Let's see how long, and it's loosely packed. I didn't overpack it this time, so they'll have an easier time of getting inside of the container. Okay, now on to the next container. Okay, this is the blue worm bin. I've already dug a hole in it. It's already been fluffed up, aerated, and ready. There's a dozen candies in here, chocolate covered, with some moist bedding on top. Okay, now on to the next one. Okay, we've got the African nightcrawler bin. It's been fluffed up. I've got a hole in the center for the dozen dark chocolate covered almonds with moist bedding on top. See how long it takes for them to get into it, and for how long it takes to break down. Alright, thank you for coming on this journey with me. Alright, this is the check on the red worm bin and the experiment with candy, chocolate covered candy, chocolate covered almonds. Okay, I suspect the first week, like the other experiments that I've done, is going to be with mites. Okay, there's a worm on top of the cover. That's not what we want to see. We want to see inside. Well, let's check out the outside here. Oh my goodness. Look at that. Worms. That's what it looks like on the bottom. So it doesn't look like they got in. Looks like there's mold. But let's check it out anyway. Oh. Hey, what a surprise. What are they going for? This is weird. Okay, that's the chocolate. They must be going for the mold that's grown on here. That's grown on top of the candy. This is interesting. Gosh. Huh. There's a beetle in there. I'll get my finger out of the way. Alright. So they haven't gotten into the candy itself, but they have, they are eating the mold that is on the candy, and they're going crazy over it. There's a worm in the cover. Alright. That was a surprise to me. Okay, let's go for the next bin. This is the blue worm bin. Check on the experiment of the dark chocolate covered almonds. Okay. Bunch of red mites. That's all I see. Liquidy oozy on the underside. Oop. There's some worms inside. But more mites than anything else. Interesting. I don't see any mold, just red mites. Okay, you gonna focus? Okay, that's how it is on this one. And I do smell chocolate. Okay, on to the next one. Okay, this is an African nightcrawler bin. Check on the experiment with the chocolate covered almonds. Dark chocolate covered almonds. I see some worms around. Around the container. Underneath the container. Oh, inside the container. Oh my. Whoa. Okay. Check these out here. Oh! Let's see what it looks like in here. Yeah, there's mold growing. I don't see any red mites. I do see some larvae of some sort. It does smell a little chocolatey. There's a larva right there. You can see it moving around, little white thing. Oh, and a beetle. Must be green beetle larva. All right. So they are liking this. Let's close them up and see how they do next week. Okay, this is the check on the redworm bin and the experiment with the chocolate covered almonds. Last week they were all into it. Not necessarily the chocolate, but the mold that was around the chocolate. Let's see how it is this week. Alright, we see lots of worms around it. See if there's any in it this week like it was last week. Oh yeah. Huh, more castings on the top. Oh, hang on just a second. Alright, sorry about the interruption. That was a phone call that we're having some repairs done on our home. So I had to answer that, and of course the worms will have probably moved on. Oh no, they're still here. See? Ooh, look at all that. Let's see how they're doing on the chocolate. Well, looks like the red worm, or the red mites are in the chocolate top part. Let's see, what else? Ugh. Let me take one of these out and see what's going on with just one of these sample. The chocolate is still around it, but there's still mold. I don't know if it'll focus. Come on, camera. There's still mold going around it, so I'm assuming that's what the worms are after. The candy. See, there's candy itself. Who knows how long this is going to take? But the worms are around it. Okay. Whew. Since I broke open that chocolate, I can smell chocolate now. Alright, so we know the worms are in it. They love the mold that's around it. Put them back here for another week. And on to the next bin right now. This is the weekly check of the blue worm bin and the chocolate covered almond experiment. There's a lot of anyway. Okay, let's see here. How are they doing? Well, swarms going in and out. A lot of mites. There was a lot of mites last time as well. There's some worms in here. It's interesting that there's a lot more mites in here than anything else. Interesting that there's no, that it's dry and there's no, I don't want to say mold on here like in the other bin. Alright. I'm tempted to put water in here, but I won't. Okay. Guys. Alright, so they're getting into it. This is interesting. Okay. On to the next bin. This is the weekly check of the African Nightcrawler bin and the experiment with the chocolate covered almonds. Let's see what's going on here with these worms. There's worms around the container. Oh my word. Look at this. See the bottom here if we can see inside. There's some larvae of some type on the bottom inside. Alright, so let's check inside the container. Before I do that, there's a whole lot of worms that were right outside the container. Anyway. Interesting. What happened to the bedding? Where's the bedding? Huh. There's some type of white worms in here. Larvae of some sort. I don't know what they are. Let's see if the camera will focus. Alright. So this is very different. Still not getting into the chocolate. Hard. Okay, interesting. Camera focus, my goodness. What is wrong with this? There. Okay, that's what that one looks like. Oh, cover it up. And we will check some more next week. Okay, this is the check on the red wigglers and the chocolate covered almonds. The dark chocolate covered almonds experiments. Well, it feels light. Let's look on the outside. Oh, bunch of worms. On the outside. See if we see any underneath. looks like it's still not broken down inside. So it must be, I'm thinking maybe how thick it is, the chocolate. See, there's some worms up at the top and some larvae inside and mites. Okay, but look at this. Where did all the bedding go? Interesting. We can see the one that was cut in half. There's mites in there, or not mites, larvae in the nut. There's mites. Looks like they're trying to get inside. And you can see where there's mold on the underside. But looks like they're starting to get into the nut portion, the inside. Interesting. Okay, I think I'll let it go another week to maybe even another month just to see how they do. Oh, here's a baby. Just to see how they're doing on the entire thing. How long does it take for it to break down? Okay, so that's the red wigglers. Let's go on to the next bin. This is the check on the blue worm bin and the experiment with the chocolate covered almonds. Let's check out here. Well, there's worms on the outside. Some mites as well. And, well, let's see what's on the inside. Well, there's worms on the inside cover. Well, they were, now they're skedaddling. Okay, let's see, there's some mold on the outside of that. Let's see. It's quite dry. Lots of mites. I wonder if the mites suck out the moisture. No, can't be so because they like moisture. So the majority of whatever I see right now are mites. The chocolate is breaking down. There's mold on the outside. There's some larvae in here as well. Let's see. Okay, so mites galore. And some worms way at the bottom. They're trying to get out of the light. Okay, so that's it on this. I don't smell any chocolate smell. So that's breaking down. Alright, on to the next bin. This is the African Nightcrawler bin, and the check on the chocolate covered almonds. There are a lot of worms all around top. Scrape them off. Okay, looks like they're around it. See if there's any inside. I see some inside. Let's see how they're doing here. It was weird. Last week there was no bedding. This week there's no bedding, but it looks like they're getting into everything. There's some larvae in here. I don't see any mites. More larvae than anything else. I don't know what kind they are. It doesn't smell. It smells a little sour, like sour chocolate, if that's even possible. Okay. Well, leave them be for another week. Let's see what occurs. Interesting, there's no bedding in here. All right. On to next week. This is the check on the red worms experiment with the, what do we have here? The dark chocolate covered almonds. There, I said it right. So we can see, let me adjust my glasses here, I can't see anything. Oh boy, there are worms going in and out. But let's check. Let's check and see what they're doing on the inside. Oh, wow. Okay, so there's lots of wormies in here. Looks like, and there's mites. The worms are avoiding where the mites are. Come on, camera, focus. There we go. So, looks like they busted open the chocolate so they can get into the almonds. But there's a lot of worms in there. Not exactly sure what they're going for. If it's, there must be some type of, look at those maggots right there. Ugh. Well, there must be some type of bacteria. Not bacteria, fungus, mold growth here. Okay, leave them another week. See how much more it gets broken down. No more bedding inside. Okay, on to the next bin. This is a check on the blue worm bin and the I just like looking at the worms. What is this? Experiment with the chocolate covered almonds, dark chocolate covered almonds. Let's see. Lots of mites. There's some worms inside. Okay, let's open it up. See what we find. Some worms in the cover. Worms inside, but there again, lots of mites in this one. Come on, camera. There. Now this one has bedding in it. Still lots of mites. but we do know there are some worms in here. So we'll let it go for another week. Not much to report in this one. Come on, focus. Let me dig a little bit more. See if we see any worms up at the bottom. Nope, just mites. Some mold. I think this bin doesn't have as many worms in it as the other two, so that could be what's going on here. Okay, close it back up. On to the next bin. Okay, this is a check on the African night crawlers and the experiment with the dark chocolate covered almonds. Okay, well, there's worms on the outside, or at least one worm. Alright, and there's worms underneath. See them all down there. Okay, let's see how they're doing on the inside now. Oh, my goodness. No worms on the inside. I don't know if you can see that. Come on, camera. You can focus. Anyway, so there's chocolate. There's chocolate. What happened to the almonds? There's just chocolate left on most of them. Wow. Okay. I don't know what ate them. I mean, there's some larvae here. I imagine they're beetle larvae. Not quite sure, but I see, beetles here. No bedding. Hardly any almond nuts, but I don't know if they're eaten by the worms or the mites or the larvae. Come on, camera. Let's focus. Here, I guess I have to do it towards the left of the screen here for it to focus properly. Excuse me. Okay. Wow. Let's keep going with this experiment and see where it leads us. Okay. On to next week. Here's the check on the red worm bin and the experiment with the chocolate covered almonds. Let's see, dark chocolate covered almonds. Still feels like, well, there's some in there, but let's see what it looks like. Oh, now there's a howdy doody for you. Nice little worm ball. They are liking something in here. There's also some larvae in here. Let's see if you can focus. Yeah, I don't know what that is crawling around in there, but a bug. So that's exciting. Let's see. Well, I was going to stop it today, but I think I'll keep it for another week. At least this one anyways. I don't know what the other two are going to find, but see what happens. No betting, but they're getting into something. I don't know if it's I don't know what it is. Interesting though. All right. Let's close it up and look at the next bin. This is the blue worm bin and a check on the experiment with the dark chocolate covered, I'm going to put this on here, dark chocolate covered almonds. See, a ton of red mites. Looks like there's some worms on the bottom. Let's see how this fared this week. We can open the cover here. We'll be okay. Let's see, worm in the cover of that. I'll put that upside down so that can get out. A lot of red mites here. A lot of chocolate that's gone bad and moldy. Okay, well, this focus there. Let's see what we have here. Got some more larvae, not worms, but I do see some worms at the bottom. You might have seen it as well when I put my finger over there. There's worms there at the bottom. So they're doing something at the bottom. They're getting some kind of nourishment there. Let me cover them back up because they don't like the light. Okay. Well, that was that one. Let's go. Whoops. Let's go on to the next bin. This is the check on the African nightcrawler bin and the experiment on the chocolate covered almonds. Okay, there you can see there's a bunch of worms around the container. Ooh, container is super light. There's a lot of worms right around there. You can see them. Maybe they're probably hanging out. Huh. Let's see what happened here. Whoa. Where is everybody? There's some moldy chocolate pieces and stuff like that. Maybe the worms will come back for the moldy pieces. There's one worm in here, at least. And larvae in here. I imagine there's green beetles doing that. I can't smell anything, but that's about it. Okay, looks like these guys just escaped from the hairs of their chinny chin chin from the container. I'll keep it one more week. We'll see what happens. One more week. Till next time. Okay, this is the check on the redworm bin experiment with the dark chocolate covered almonds, and there's a lot of worms right around it. Oh boy, let's see what's going on in here since last week. Okay, what is this? Now there's a bunch of castings, a bunch of worms, and some chocolate. I see a lot of pot worms as well, and of course the lovely red mites. Okay, let's keep this one more week and then see what happens to them next week. Okay, let's go on to the next bin. This is the blue worm bin, and the check on the chocolate covered almonds, dark chocolate covered almonds. There's worms all over the place. Not as many as the red worms in this bin. Okay, let's see. Focus. Bunch of mites like last week. There's some worms inside. Some mold. Bunch of castings. Some larvae. I think they're beetle larvae. That's about it. I don't think the blue worms like chocolate, to tell you the truth. Okay, we'll leave it for this week and on to the next one. This is the check on the African night crawlers and the experiment with the dark chocolate covered almonds. Okay, see if they've done anything this week. No. I think they're done. I think they've had it with the chocolate. No worms, except for this one right up here at the top, but you know, what's that? And then there's some larvae and some little bit of let's see, red mites on the cover. So I think instead of going one more week, like I said with the red worm bin, I think this is it. I think this is what we're going to see with the red worms ultimately. I guess the red worms are the winners for loving chocolate. The blue worms don't like chocolate at all, or very little, and the African night crawlers like them somewhat, but they would rather have something else. So I think I will go ahead and stop this experiment, and we'll go on to the next experiment. So thank you for coming on this journey with me.